We're still continuing our series of the journey of the Prophet ﷺ, his Hajj from Medina to Mecca. And last time we stopped when he ﷺ arrived to Mecca, or to ask Mecca. He ﷺ traveled the road between Mecca and Medina in 8 days, from Sunday to Sunday. And he went to Al-Miqat on Saturday and he stayed that night, and then he went the next day on Sunday, and he arrived on Sunday to Mecca. So that trip is about 8 days. And just like any trip, he ﷺ, he went through that the hardship of the traveling, and that's why when he came close to Mecca, he stayed close to it to relax, to prepare himself to enter Mecca during the daytime with energy, and to arrange everybody with him, and to give a chance for those who to catch up with him. So before he entered Mecca, he stayed in a well called we call it Jarwal, or the wells of Zahir. The people of Mecca, they know these places very well. So when he woke up, he prayed on a high place in the well, and he offered a tamattu for his companions to make it Umrah. He did not insist on it, but he made it as an offer. He told them if anyone who wants to make it an Umrah first, he wants for them that to make Hajj where they have the Mata. They make the Umrah, they release themselves, and they spend a few days relaxed, and on the 8th day of the Hijjah they'll start their Ihram again, and they start the Hajj. He ﷺ took a shower, or he made the ghusl, and he took the hardship of the traveling, and he entered Mecca, or he prepared himself to be energetic, strong. He came from the area of Thunayat Kuda, the Sheikh is describing the place, and he went to the right, going down in the valley toward the Masjid al-Haram. He did not stop raising his voice in answering Allah until he entered the houses of Mecca. So some of the kids of Abdul Muttalib came to him, and he held one, and he put one behind him in his camel. We have mentioned that he entered on Sunday, the 4th of Dhul Hijjah. He entered during Duha time, so people could see him and they will follow his example. So he put his camel on the door of a masjid, and he entered from the same gate he used to enter from Hajjah, which is the gate of Bani Shayba. So he ﷺ entered the Haram, and it is in the same condition like Ibrahim. There is no idol around the Kaaba, where it has 360 plus idols on it, and they used to have naked people around it. Now there is no nudity on the Haram, on the house of Allah. The Shaitan, he beautified to people that they should not wear clothes that they disobeyed Allah, and he gave them the solution to go around Kaaba nude. And also no one allowed to be a disbeliever in Allah to make his Hajj. The Prophet ﷺ, he sent Abu Bakr, and also to say the Bara'ah, and to declare to people that no one will make Hajj who is a mushrik, as if this a preparation to welcome the Prophet ﷺ. Allah alone knows what went to the head of the Prophet ﷺ at that time. When the Masjid al-Haram when he alayhi salatu wasalam entered al-Kaaba after he left it for so many years, and his patience on the hardship that his people gave him, he entered the Haram 10 years before that, and they threw the guts of the slaughtered animals on his head, on his back. 10 years pass by as if it is 1 minute, 1 second, as if it is a glance of a dream. Allah fulfilled his promise, and he has destroyed the Ahzab by himself, and he supported his prophet and the believers with him around him, so they will enter the Haram safe, peaceful. They cut their head and they do not fear nothing. Didn't he go to Al-Kaaba one time, and few people from Quraysh, they almost killed him, and Abu Bakr came to his safety, and he said, you kill someone who says my Lord is Allah. Did the Prophet ﷺ remember that time, or did he remember the conditions that happened during Mecca time when he entered the Haram, and he had no one or around him except someone who is following him, following his message? Allah fulfilled his promise, and he superseded his religion over anything, any other ideology. And who is better to fulfill his promise than Allah? Who is more truthful than Allah when he says? Who is more truthful than Allah when he speaks? No one. Of course we cannot say what came in the heart of the Prophet ﷺ. What did he think about when he entered Kaaba? But we could feel it. We could feel we feel how he alayhi salatu wasalam, what he felt to Kaaba after all these years. He went to the Black Stone. If you entered Al-Masjid Haram, you don't pray 2 rak'ahs of Tahit al-Masjid. You have to do the tawaf. Only if it is impossible to do that because of crowdedness, because it's too crowded. But we're supposed to go 7 times, and this is the tahiyya, the greeting of the house of Allah. So he alayhi salatu wasalam, meaning he took his hand shake toward him, and he started crying, and he kissed it, and then he prostrated on it, and it was a time where the words cannot be described. And then he went 7 times around the Kaaba, where he showed his right shoulder. And he has a green cloth from Hadramaut, from Yemen. When we are used to put 2 white cloth, this is not a condition. He alayhi salatu entered, and he had a green garment in him. We had the that the niqab for the women are black, but it's not a condition that has to be black. The Bukhari, he mentioned in his book that Arifah, he divorced his wife, and Abdurrahman al-Zubair married her, and Aisha said, and she had a garment green, and she showed her some greenness in her skin. meaning that the dye that's on the clothes came on the skin of that woman. The hadith here on Akrima that Rifa' had divorced his wife, and Abdurrahman ibn Zubayr, he married her, and Aisha said that she had a green garment, so she compared her and she showed her the residue of the dye on her skin. So when the Prophet ﷺ came and the women are supporting each other, Aisha said, I haven't seen like how the believer woman, that she is more green than her garment, and she's complaining the hardship of her husband who abused her, and that's what she think her skin is more green than her garment, to the end of the hadith. Here the point the Sheikh is trying to make, that it is allowed to have different colors than the one that we are used to, but the woman should not wear anything that will be beautifying her body. Some colors, they became a garment, something that beautify them, and she should not wear it in the masjid. She should wear it outside the masjid, not in the masjid of Allah. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he rushed in the first 3 trips, meaning he walked but fast. When the Sahaba came in the Hudmat al-Hudaybiyah and the one after it, the people of Mecca, they said, people came to that they are full of the like some kind of disease from Medina. So he wanted to show them the strength, and he ordered the believers to make the tawaf, the first 3, to make it with a little bit of rush, like you walk fast. And then he alayhi salatu walked to the rest of the 7 rounds in his normal walk, and his dua between the 2 rukns, the Yamani and Hajj Aswad, ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Allah give us, grant us a good deed in this life and in the hereafter, and prevent us from the hellfire. And this is what it is recommended, but you could make any dua. And in his Hajj, in the Tawaf, he always answered people's questions, and he purified from anything that goes to worship someone else beside Allah. Some of the people of the Jahiliyyah, they used to walk, they say they're going to make Hajj together, but they lock each other. So he saw a man doing it, and he's leading him. So Prophet cut that rope, and he said, take his hand, but do not put a robe. He said, oh, we made this as another. And in the Jahiliyyah, they used to do this iqtiran. So alayhi salatu wasalam said, free yourselves and make Hajj. This is not another. The another, what is Allah's face is seeked. This is an act of the shaitan, of the devil. So whoever made another to obey Allah, let him do it. And if he made another to disobey Allah, he should not do it. So he alayhi salatu wasalam, while he is making his tawaf, he is to purify the virtues of Hajj from anything that people has attached to it, from the time of ignorance, and he bring it back to its purity, to make it pure just like he left us with it, alayhi salatu wassalam. When he finished his tawaf, he went to the place of Ibrahim, and he decided to take from this place of Ibrahim as a place of worship, and he raised his voice with it. So he made the maqam between him and the house of Allah. So it was attached to the Al-Kaaba because he used to stand on it to build the Kaaba. So of course he did not have the distance that we see nowadays. When too many people came in, they moved that place. They saw there's nothing wrong to take it a little bit further, so it will not gather, make people, so people can pray behind it. So it used to be touched to the Kaaba, then it was moved. But he alayhi salatu wasalam prayed on it. He started with Al-Fatiha and Qul Ya Al-Kafirun, and the second rak'ah he made Qul Hu Allahu Ahad. When he made his salam, he went to Zamzam and he drank from it, and he poured on his head. Then he went back to the stone and he kissed it and wiped it and wiped his face and his alayhi salatu wasalam. After he finished from going around the Tawaf, he went to As-Safa and he recited that the Safa and Marwa from the virtues of Allah. Whoever made Hajj or made Umrah, there is nothing wrong if he made Tawaf around them, and who did it is good, and Allah is appreciative. He says, I start with what Allah started with. So he started with As-Safa and he looked at the house of Allah, and then he raised his hands and he recited La ilaha illallah akbar subhanallah alhamdulillah. Don't think there's a problem if you start with someone else. There's no duty but Allah. You have the thanks, and He is the one who raised from death and put death to live people to the end of the dua. He said it 3 times, and then he made his dua in that place, whatever Allah wants him to do. Then he started walking. When he came in the middle of the valley, he rushed. It's a place that if you go there, it has green light. You're supposed to rush in that place. He said, make sa'i, making, because Allah prescribed it to you. Until he reached Marwa, and then he looked toward the Kaaba and he made dua, and he did the same thing he did on Safa. Look what he said. During that, it became known in Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ in the masjid, that he is on the Safa or in the Marwa. So all the houses are empty and everybody wants to see the Prophet ﷺ. All those who are anxious to see him, those who are thirsty to look at his face, wanted to be happy of looking at the face of the Prophet ﷺ. Even the young ladies and the servants and the elder people, they all went. They kept saying, oh, this is the Prophet ﷺ, and they all get crowded around him to look at him. When there were a lot around him, and he was very lenient. He don't hit no one in front of him, or nobody. He don't ask anybody to from. He asked his camel, so he could stand, and everybody will see him and ask them, and this way he will be merciful, so they all could see him. And he did his sa'i on his camel. When he finished, and he was on Marwa, ordered who do not have the livestock to make it Umrah. He ordered them, and then he ordered his wives to make Ihlal, except Aisha, because she has her period. So she did not make her Umrah, so she's still in her Ihram. And Hafsa told him, what stopped you from making the Ihlal of Rasulullah? He said, because I brought my livestock with me. Then whoever did that, they need to stay in the ihram until the day of Eid, and that's when he does it, and that's called Qiran. And it was very hard for the companions to take it from Hajj to Umrah. And Jabir said, it became very hard on us, and our choice was very hard to accept it, because they came out making the talbiyah of Hajj Mufridin, do not mention nothing but Hajj, and they yelled at it. So how could they make it Umrah? How could they make it Mut'ah when they have decided Hajj? Another issue, it was hard on them. How do they do the Umrah during the Hajj time? And the time of the ignorance, they used to think Umrah is not to do Umrah during the months of Hajj. This is like one of the major sins. And this is the residues of ignorance, when people used to worship Allah according to their desires. But the Prophet ﷺ taught them. The other thing, how could they make Ihlal? And they only have 4 days to Arafah. What's the use of it? So why should we do that? There is only 3 or 4 days left. And there is nothing between them and Arafah except 4 days. Until this was what do you want us to do? Like, it is a partial, he said, the whole thing. You come back just like before. Then they said, we left making, we don't need nothing but Hajj. And there's nothing between us and Arafah except 4 days. We were ordered to how could we go to Arafah when we still have some residue of sex with our wives? So how are we going to separate this life from the hereafter? The other one that made it hard for them, because they see the Prophet ﷺ who did not make Ihlal, and he is the example that they have to follow. And they are the one who love him, alayhi salatu wasalam, to follow from what he does. That's why they slow down in answering, hoping that they will be sharing his condition of not making Ihlal. Maybe he listened to them. When he saw him slowing down, then he got angry. And he went to Aisha and he said, and she knew that he is angry. She thought that someone harmed him. He said, who made you angry, O Prophet of Allah? May Allah make him enter hellfire. He said, don't you see, I ordered people of something and they are hesitant. So this reached the Prophet ﷺ, what people are saying. So he stood up making khutbah. He thanked Allah and he said, do you want to teach me with Allah, O people? You knew that I'm more pious to Allah. I'm more truthful. Do what I ordered you. If it was not my guidance, I would make the same thing you're doing. And if not for my livestock, I did not make the hell because of my livestock that I brought with me. Then they felt good. Then they all did what he ordered them to do. So they cut their hair and they wore their clothes and they had their cologne and they went to their women and they obeyed, just like they do always with the Prophet ﷺ when he ordered them something. Then Suraqa ibn Malik ibn Ju'shum, and he is the Bar of Marwa, and he said, O Prophet of Allah, can you see our mut'ah for this this year or for everyone? Then he put his hands together. He said, for eternally, to the forever. The Umrah entered the Hajj until the Day of Judgment. So Suraqa said, "Oh Prophet of Allah, show us our religion as if we are born today. What do we do? If with things that already been written, or what we have received?" He said, "What is dried?" He said, "But then what should we work?" He said, "Work, because everybody is done for what his destiny. Like, is our knowledge supersede us?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Did Allah write what we do?" "Yes." He said, "Did Allah knowledge knew who's going to be happy, who's going to be sad?" He said, "If everything already decided, so why should we work?" He said, "Work because each one is eased for what he is created for." I want you to understand this person who is asking the question. This is Suraqa ibn Malik ibn Ja'sham, the one who only a few years ago he used to race on his horse with his spear, trying to kill the Prophet ﷺ, to put him as prisoner, to take him back to the Bureau of Mecca so he could take the reward of 100 camels. This is Suraqa who followed the Prophet ﷺ to kill him or to put him as a prisoner. So he prepared himself. Yeah, he thought he's gonna win it by himself. But then Allah decided what happened, which is what happened to his horse that get deep in the sand. Then he asked permission from the Prophet, so he made dua for him. Then he was freed, and he made the covenant that he will deceive people and he will get his things. He said, "Write me something of peace." Who is supposed to give who safety? He's the one. Like Suraqa was among those who were to kill the Prophet ﷺ. Who need peace? The one who is escaping people by him Fred only, or the people who are behind them trying to kill him and kill this religion? As if he knew with his conscience that this Allah Azza wa Jalla will give him strength one day, and Allah will show the messengers, and Allah will make him inherit this earth, and there will be a day needing that book, because so people cannot say, "You are the person who went to kill the Prophet ﷺ. Today we're going to put you accountable." And the day of conquering Mecca, he had soldiers everywhere, so he said, "This is my book, this is your book, O Muhammad." He said, so he told him, "This is the day of fulfillment and goodness. The hand of Allah works by in a very amazing way. No one can suggest to Allah or rush him into doing something. Allah sent his messenger with the Rasul to show it over other religions, and Allah promised the people who do goodness and did the good deeds that they will inherit the earth, and he will support the religion that he had chose for them, and to change their condition with peace and Yfarjum, and no partners with him." And Allah sent an ayah to calm the Prophet ﷺ, to support him, to support his heart, give him the glad tidings that he will go back to Mecca one day. Allah said he is the one who's going to take you back in a date. So feel good, O Prophet ﷺ, with all aspects, because you, no matter what, you'll come back. He alayhi salatu wasalam, peace be with him. Oh Allah, increase our love to him. to the Prophet ﷺ, and make our love to him as peace for us from the big torment at the day of judgment, and give us his intercession at the day of judgment, and to make us drink from his fountain at the day of judgment. Subhanallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة